Welcome to Stand-Up Comedy Sex Ed. It's where you can get questions answered like,
how long does it take the average man to orgasm?
And
how long does it take the average woman to orgasm?
And also,
why is it so hot in here?
Audiences agree it's brilliantly funny. Raylene makes sex ed fun. This show is entertaining, factual, and relatable.
There's nothing worse than being halfway done with sex and feeling your vagina shut down on you.
You've got to see Stand-Up Comedy Sex Ed.
I am ready to go do that comedy show. Hey everybody, welcome to the second season of the Stand-Up Comedy Sex Ed podcast, hosted by Raylene Taskoski and some other guest. And today's guest is Nicole Renee, and she is a women over 30s fitness coach. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
This is kind of exciting. I do just want to say really quickly, I am always looking for guests for the show. So if you want to come on the show or you have a good idea for someone who should be on the show, just message me. You can find me. I tell you how to find me at the end of the show every time. And then I just joined buymeacoffee.com. And that is like a Patreon, except you don't have to sign up for a subscription. So you can find me at buymeacoffee.com/Raylene, and you can, donate $3 to keep me on the air. Because it's been almost a year since I started doing this, which means my subscription fees are going to come back up now for the Zoom and for the Podbean and for all that stuff. And I'm still not making any money because the world is still shut down if you do comedy and or sex toy parties. So, all right, back to you, Nicole. Sorry about that. I should start doing my advertising before I invite people onto the show. So you are a women over 30s fitness coach. Now that does not mean if you're 29 and a half that we're not invited to your...
That is totally correct. We are all about making everybody healthy and fit inside and out. It's just primarily, we market ourselves as 30 over 30. I love to say how you want to come in, let's feel great about ourselves. Let's look good naked and still eat pizza. So we're all about having fun and working out. So
nice. And you have, are you doing it online now, or you have an in-person friend store?
I have a small fitness studio over in Mystic, Connecticut, and I also have an online coaching program. So regardless of what people feel like or their comfort level, we can get you fit regardless. So
I didn't realize that you were that close.
Yeah, you should definitely drop in. And if you like dogs, my dog Denver is always on site for emotional support. So you have to like dogs. That's another prerequisite for the gym. So
now, can I just sit in the corner and eat donuts with your dog and watch everybody work out?
He will love you even more if you were bringing donuts. So perfect. Yeah.
That's the one thing most people should know about me. I am actually not an animal person. I have 4 cats and none of them come anywhere near me. They will look at me. They will crowd on my husband. Like 3 of the 4 will literally sit on him at night. He's covered with cats. And then I'm over there by myself. And every night when I go in the bedroom, so there's the one that won't get on him because he doesn't get along with the other 3.
Yeah.
Wait in the bedroom. And then when he goes in the bedroom, and he's inevitably before me, because I have to do load the dishwasher, take the medicine, shut off all the lights, all the women's stuff. And I get in and he's always snuggling with that cat. And I walk in and I'm like, get out. I come in, I'm like, get out. And the cat just stares at me. And my husband's like, he wants to snuggle. And I'm like, get out. And he goes, okay, you have to go. And the cat will walk to the end of the bed and then flop down, like, make me leave. So I pick him up and I kick him out of the bedroom every night.
So they're his cats, not your cats.
Yeah. Well, they're the family's cats. And one of them's terrified of me, which is hysterical. But he'll snuggle with me just in certain places at certain times, but the rest of the time, I like to sit down in the basement in front of the pellet stove because it's warm down there, and he'll come down the stairs and he'll see me and he'll turn around and go right back up. I don't know what that says about me as a human, that my cats don't like me.
It's all right. My partner Eric came with a Siamese cat, and I'm not sure if you were aware of Siamese cats' personalities, but they're kind of little
assholes.
tourists. Yeah, they're total assholes. and he actually terrorizes my dog, who is a pit bull mix. So if that says anything, I'm completely screwed, so.
We had a dog for a number of years, and he got, I guess it's been almost like a year and a half, maybe 2 years since he died. And we had him for like 13 years. And it was funny because he was friends with the cats. And over the years, so we have 5 acres and we have indoor, outdoor cats. And so over the years, we've gone through a number of cats because sometimes coyote season comes and we're like, damn, there goes a couple more. And then we replace them. But you know what? And I'll say this for those of you who are horrified at this moment. I think my cats have a better life in and out, living 3 or 4 years, having full access to the backyard and the trees and the running and the whatever they want to do and the mouse catching. And most of them last more than 3 or 4 years than any cat does living in your house, never allowed outside.
I have to agree completely. I used to own a small horse farm, and all our cats were always outside running around and, bringing in little animals. So I totally agree. So
some people are say, I have pets, not hostages. I let them out when they want to go out.
I'm very anti cat litter box too.
Well, we have those, and we have 3 of them because cats are assholes. They don't even want to share that. But
exactly.
So we had this one cat, and he would literally like crawl on top of Mento and sleep on top of him. And then have you seen the egg challenge that they're doing with dogs?
No.
Like they put a full egg in the dog's mouth, and most dogs will just hold it. Like they won't chomp it. They'll just hold it.
I'm gonna have to test this theory out.
Yeah. If you look up, I don't know if it's a TikTok one or if it's I don't know. My daughter shared it with me the other day. But Mento, when the cats would gang up on like a little chipmunk, because there'd be like 3 of them playing cat and mouse with this little chipmunk. If the chipmunk got away, Mento would chase it, pick it up with his teeth, bring it back, and drop it back in the circle. And he would never crunch it. He would just go get it and bring it back. Like, that's creepy. You're looking up egg challenge now, aren't you?
I definitely put it on the list to check out, because that would be a really funny thing to do at Denver, like at the studio.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's funny because some dogs are just like chomp, 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 and they'll eat it, and other ones they'll hold it in their mouth like, this is important to me.
It's my baby.
Yeah. You try to get it back from them, they're like, no, this is mine now. That's so dumb.
Funny.
So let's talk about sex. Sorry, we got way sideways.
Right. Yes, those damn animals. Yes, it's all about this. I actually talked about sex on my live today. I did.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about hiding from sexy time. Working with women over 30, a lot of the times women want to keep the lights off a lot of the times, and they don't want their partners to look at themselves.
Absolute darkness.
So
I don't even want like the light on the end of my phone, like my Kindle, where I plug it in, that little tiny green light in the end of all lights off.
Where is it? No.
I don't want moonlight. I don't want nothing. No, don't look at me. And also stop touching my belly.
They always do that. I don't understand that crap.
They're like cats. Even like, I can feel it.
I know. Even if you're not fat, like I've talked to so many women about this, like their husbands or boyfriends, whatever, they kind of grabbed at that spot, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like,
right.
Like, stop doing that, men.
Well, I think that's because that's where the womb area is. And I think instinctively they're just like, this is the place.
Yeah, this is the place. Well, not on here.
Right. Leave me. But yeah, no, that's one this is one of the reasons it takes women so much longer to orgasm, because we might be super aroused and then you touch our belly and we're like, stop it right now.
Right. You just wrecked this whole thing. Let's all repeat and we're done. Like I'm done.
It's one of the reasons I like doggy style, and I will take care of myself. Thank you very much. Stop touching me. So so you want to help people feel better in their bodies.
Yes, that's a very big important thing in my book. When I was growing up, I was raised in a very like Catholic household, and my mom would always hide her body a lot. So like, and I see this in a lot of the times with the women I coach, and I'm just like, you're really, my whole goal is not just to coach them, just to, to feel, to be healthy, but to feel better about their body as a whole, so they can show up for themselves. They can, it's, we as women, we're very sexual beings, and a lot of times we tend to forget that, especially with everyday work and any other tasks we do. So
I'm giggling in my head because that's not something that my children have to worry about. I was always, I don't even really like to get naked, but if I'm about to get in the shower and I realize that I need some, like, oh, I'm going to wash this shirt like at this exact moment, or now a big thing is my Apple Watch.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I'm like, I turn on the water and I've got all my clothes off and I'm like, oh, you know what? This is a good time to charge the watch. Well, my charger is near my easy chair, because a lot of times, like when I'm watching TV, I'll take it off and charge it while I'm watching TV because I'm not moving and I want to wear it when I'm sleeping. And so I'll just walk across the house naked and go, and my husband's like, you're naked. I'm like, yes, I am. And I would do it with my kids all the time. I'm like, I'm naked. I'm coming out. Avert your eyes if you wish. So nudity was never a problem here. My husband has, I think I've seen my husband naked like 5 times, right? Fully, because he hides. And if I catch him naked, I go, you're naked. I see you naked. Honestly, when he goes to the bathroom after sex, he brings his underwear and he comes back out dressed.
Oh, like, my God.
Yeah, no, we don't. He's very shy.
Well, I don't really have that problem with my partner. He just loves to walk around naked. So he's all about that completely. Yeah. So he's very proud. So
yeah, mine hides, but he locks the door to the bathroom. So if I have to pee and he's in the shower, too bad, so sad. Got to go to the other bathroom.
Yeah.
And some people are like that. And like my ex and I mean, take a dump while he was in the shower. I didn't care, or vice versa. It's like,
I know, it's so interesting.
People are so different.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it might depend on how many bathrooms you grew up with.
I only had one, so we kind of had to share.
Right.
Was, you were seeing everybody naked, even if you didn't want to see them.
Yeah, I think that was because, we had one bathroom and it was me, mom, and my 2 brothers and my dad. So if you were in there and somebody had to pee, then you were going to take a shower while they were peeing. And I think my husband always grew up in a house with multiple bathrooms. So he's been used to not. Yeah. So you said that you guys talk about the V in your studio all the time, but I think anytime you get women together, we talk about sex.
Yeah, we love talking about sex a lot. That's pretty, that's always an interesting topic. I think, we always like to joke about it, because it's a lot you can't really talk about it out in certain spaces.
Well, unless you're me, in which case you talk about it all the time, and then you realize you're like, oh crap, whoopsie.
Right. It's kind of an interesting thing because we talk about it for like so much with the ladies, and there's like a stigma, like you're not supposed to talk about it, but we need to talk about it,
Right.
So
the more we talk about it, the less taboo it is, the more information we can get, the more we can share with each other, and the better sex will be. And the better we'll feel about ourselves, because nobody feels bad after an orgasm.
No, definitely not. There's no anxiety drugs needed after that. So
exactly. That's how I fall asleep at night sometimes.
Perfect.
That's why I'm horrible at morning sex. I'm like, no, it's time for me to get up. If we have an orgasm, I have to sleep again.
Yeah. It's not happening in the morning. No way.
It is so weird to find like what, I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that to my list of nosy questions. What is your favorite time of day to have sex? Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Because it's different for everyone. I get these questions for my podcast are getting more and more ideas as I go. Nosy ass things that should be things that we can talk about without, like being embarrassed about it.
Right. We really should. It's kind of funny because I embarrass my mom all the time when I talk about sex and I teach her stuff. She's like, I've never sometimes I say stuff, she's like, I have to Google this. I'm like, Ma, do not Google that.
Do not Google that.
I'm like, do not Google that. And, and she's just like, wow, you're just got so much knowledge. Like, oh my God.
How old is your mom?
She's 65.
Okay. Yeah. So my mom is 70, and it's so one of the things that is awkward / awesome is that because of what I do for a living, when my parents started to have issues, they came to me. And that is awkward because nobody wants to think about their parents having sex, period.
No, definitely not.
I'm happy to know that they're having it, but also but I was happy that I was able to answer their questions. And when I first started doing the parties, my mom was horrified. Like she was horrified.
Of course.
And then after a year of me doing them, I had my 1-year anniversary party, and I said to my mom, either come to my party and see what I do or shut the fuck up, because I've had enough. Like,
right.
I'm not doing anything wrong. And so she came to my anniversary party, and the next day I called my dad and I said, what did mom say? And he said, your mom said you get factual information in an amusing way, and she's really proud of you.
Aww.
And so from that point on, she would come, like if I was having big events or stuff, she would come and help take care of things, and she'd heard me do the party multiple times, and she would laugh, and that made me happy. But yeah, wicked prude.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different generation. I knew my dad's a little bit more talkative about it, and I'll never forget my ex-husband and my dad were like doing something on our house, and my ex was like, so, Steve, what are you doing later? And my dad's like, I'm gonna have sex with the little lady. And my ex was like, holy shit, like. But and he didn't even know what to say. He was like, "You so taken back." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna spend
it's so funny because as his daughter's husband, their proper response is like, "I'm gonna do that too."
I know, it was just so funny. He was just so taken back by it. It was just like.
We used to do funny things like my parents' anniversary one year, or for Christmas one year, my brothers and I got together and we got them a hotel with a jacuzzi tub, and then we got my dad like a little Tarzan G-string type thing, and we gave it to him for Christmas. But I'd like to say it was for the embarrassment factor, but who knows? Maybe they Tarzan and Jane. Who knows?
Maybe they do. That sounds like fun. Why not? Right.
Right. But it's funny when we were growing up, there was always that Saturday morning dresser pushed in front of the door when you could hear it, because it was wood floors, and we're like, ugh, we know what they're doing. And then when I moved back home after, when I was an adult and I had a kid, and then I would hear the dresser and I would like, ew, stop, I'm right here.
It's so funny because my parents used to call it dusting when I was kids. So when I would go to school, they'd be like, well, what did your parents do for fun? I would tell people my parents dusted for fun. Because I would always hear them in their room. And so one time the teacher was like, so, Mrs. Hopkins, what's going, you like to dust? And my mom's like, yeah, I love to clean. But it was like this inside thing about dusting, because my mom called it dusting. So I'm like, wow, my parents.
In our house, we call it nap time.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So don't bother us. It's nap time. And it's hysterical because now with all the little gifts, that you get on the phone and stuff.
Yeah.
My husband sent me one the other day, and it was like a sloth just laying down, and I sent him back one of just this weird little one of somebody coming down the stairs with their skirt up, like, I'm on my way. It's so dumb, but it's fun.
Yeah,
Sex
it totally is. Yeah.
So do you have, does anybody ever talk in your class about issues that they're having? Any group think or crowdsourcing for?
So it's interesting. I think the biggest thing right now is, especially the ladies that are dating in a COVID world.
Oh yeah.
That has been a big, weird thing about sex in the COVID world and off Tinder. So it's kind of awkward. It's like, they were confused whether to wear a mask or not.
Yeah, more people are worried about masks than condoms. Come on.
It's kind of funny. I was like, okay, that's great for you. Go have some fun. But if you're, I'm like, just stay, use a rubber, and you're already, mask is not, I'm not even worried about a mask at that point,
Right.
So,
I had one of my daughter's friends had just started dating somebody right before it hit, and they lived in New York City, so they took their separation very, very seriously. And I said, you know what, this is a relationship that will most likely last because you guys had to get to know each other before you got physical. Like you couldn't,
yeah.
I think we all know we will stay with a bad relationship with a good dick.
Yeah.
Over.
That's true.
And so if you can get to know the person before you get that far, then you probably have a stronger leg to stand on. So I'm looking forward to them getting engaged and getting married anytime soon, because I think they're amazing together. But they got to get to know each other, and
right.
that was something that was, I think, was really good. It was really good for some relationships and really bad for other relationships. People who thought they were in great relationships, but then had to be home with their partner 24/7 for 7 months, all of a sudden decided that's not what I want for the rest of my life.
Oh, I was thinking that too. I can only imagine like the divorce rate after COVID,
The podcast that I just recorded right before yours, they said that they were looking at perhaps having a baby boom, and what they're finding is they're getting a divorce boom.
Well, I know the baby boom. I had like 15 friends all tell me they're having babies. So
yeah,
I was
yes.
Like, holy crap.
On Valentine's Day, it like everybody.
Everyone little
posted.
onesies. It's like crazy.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking about, and I might have mentioned this weeks ago on this podcast, that I wonder if the baby boom that we're getting is offset. Like, I don't know if it'll be a boom or if it's going to be offset by the number of people who didn't get pregnant from one night stand hookups from being drunk in a club.
That's true.
And I wonder if the abortion rate dropped because of that, because there weren't a lot of people going out and having indiscriminate hookups because they couldn't.
Right. Everything was shut down. So you can't really.
Right. So I would be curious to see what those numbers looked like, if there was any significant change. But I think a weird shit like that, my brain's like, say, what else is going on in the world?
I thought it was
not hooking up.
I thought it was interesting of like people were even going on dates via Zoom. I had a couple ladies do that. They were actually doing like dinner dates. Like both of them would have like dinner, and then they would hop on Zoom, and then I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, but again, then you don't have to put out. That's my favorite time to date. You don't have to shave anything.
Right. You just kind of from here up, you can kind of like
you got your sweatpants, be naked right, on the bottom.
And you can even keep the free Zoom if you don't want. Be like, oh, my 45 minutes is up. I can give over. You. Yeah. It's an easy out right there,
Exactly. Oh, what? Bye. Yeah, I had one of my I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Somebody texted me at the exact same moment that I was about to talk, and my brain got erased. So
it's all right. No worries.
Yeah. So how long have you been with your partner?
I've been with him for 6 years this year. So we actually met a really funny situation. He actually is a horseshoer, and we met from him shoeing my horses when I was married with my ex-husband. And I always thought he was pretty hot. And my ex-husband would always be home when he was shoeing the horses that day, always.
Because he knew that he was hot.
Yeah, he knew he was hot. So, but yeah. And then we both got divorced, and then we reconnected. So yeah.
Yeah. Those hot horseshoers.
Yeah, man. if they can deal with a 2,000-pound animal,
That just sounded very sexy.
I know, right?
Yeah, I would have never thought of it that way, but yeah, that's why all of those Montana ranch love stories work out so well, because cowboys are hot.
It's interesting. I know a lot of my friends would take pictures of of his butt all the time. They would send them to me. They'd be like, "Oh, Eric just came by. He's looking really good. He bent over a few times." And
Well, you got to bend over to get the horse foot.
I know, right? He might as well look, right? But yeah, he loves him and I are both really big horse people, so it's nice to be able to connect through that, though. So
I'm a butt person, so I would enjoy a nice butt.
Well, in order to work on a horse, you need to have a nice butt, because you can't be you can't be weak to do that. So
right. That's actually how I met my husband. He had a really nice butt.
Nice.
We were line dancing at Norm's Country Lounge in Groton. And he was in front of me dancing to Buster Poindexter's Hot, Hot, Hot and shaking his butt. And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
I need to go meet that butt. And I still can't keep my hands off it. I think I touch it 72 times a day. I don't think I've ever walked by him without grabbing his butt. But it's funny because he grabbed my butt a couple weeks ago and I was like, why are you touching me? I don't think he had ever touched my butt before. And he just like ran and I was like, stop. It was like I sat on a spider. I don't know what I didn't expect it.
That's funny.
I'm sorry, you were saying something and I got off on my butt tangent.
I know Eric grabs me all day long as well. So we could be in public and he's like grabbing me. So.
Oh yeah, no, my hand is always
the butt. It's like it's a butt thing. But you know what's funny? Like I always saw my parents grab each other's asses all the time as well. So it's not good. Like yeah. So I don't really like. I'm sure some people think we're pretty crazy. We're walking around Bluff Point and he's like grabbing me, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely holding my husband's butt in Bluff Point often. It's just a thing, and I think initially my husband was kind of like uncomfortable with it, especially like around the kids, because I don't even think about it. My hand is just like, that's where I'm happy. And I think it's important for kids to see their parents be physical. I mean, not like having sex, but kissing, hugging,
yes,
touching,
I agree.
hand holding, butt grabbing, affectionate.
Yeah. I think that's very, very important. I know in my parents' household, like they always had a date. They always had date nights of some sort every Friday night, even if it was like with a card table and some pizza and some candles. I'd be like, everyone in the room. And my mom would put the little doors closed with the chairs, and then shut the lights off. So I completely agree. It's like they still go on dates every Friday. So it's pretty awesome.
I wonder what my kids think about our relationship. I guess I'll never know.
Maybe one day they'll tell you.
Yeah, maybe. But I always knew my parents loved each other. And, I always knew things were never easy, but they were there for each other. And that was just how it was going to be. So
right.
I see a lot of my dad in my husband, and I see a lot of my mom in me. And I will deny I ever said that if anybody ever asks. But and then it's so funny because my daughter married someone who's just very similar to my husband. And my husband is not her father, but it's weird because I see very strong parallels between them, and she also sees them, which makes her uncomfortable sometimes. But I see my dad, I learned that my dad would rev my mom up. Like one day I saw my dad poke my mom's buttons, and I was like, why did you do that? Like, why did you purposely piss her off? But then I see my husband doing it to me all the time, and I'm like, knock it off, Dennis. Because that's my dad's name. And then he'll smirk, and I'll be like, and he'll also do it to my daughter. So my middle daughter is so much like my mom, it's creepy. And my husband will do it to her too. And I'm like, knock it off, Dennis. And he's like, what am I doing? And he knows what he's doing. Such a pain in my ass. I actually am glad this 2020 thing kind of happened because my husband wound up working from home the whole time. And I've always been worried that I wouldn't be able to stand him being home when he finally retired. But now that he's home, like today, he goes to work one day a week where he has to go physically go into work for meetings and stuff. And when he's not home, I miss him. So now I'm like, okay, I guess I can handle retirement.
Well, that's a good. I know we were able to reconnect a lot more with 2020, with more stuff being at home and us being able to reconnect with the business and just being able to reconnect on a regular basis as people. It's just, we're always so busy with everything else. It's just nice to actually like just hang out and be just be each other, just hanging out,
just be together.
Exactly.
I found out that we get along better when our kids aren't home.
Oh.
That and I figured that out after they all left after the summer. And then I was just like, wow, because I don't know why. I don't know why, but as soon as the kids leave, everything gets better. There's pain in the ass children. Do you have any kids?
I don't have any kids, just the dog and the cat and like 6 nieces.
And do you have horses or no? Or you used to have horses?
I used to have horses. Yeah. In my early 20s, I had a horrible car accident, which led me not to have children.
Sorry.
But it's actually made me really push further into fitness and help other women, to really be okay whatever process they're in and being able to push through. So it's really made me focus on something completely different where I didn't even think I would be. I didn't think I would be here, 20, 30 years ago. When you're thinking about what you're going to be forever. What did you think you were going to be like 30 years ago? It's like,
I don't know. I never, I just always thought that I was going to be famous.
I think that's awesome.
For what? But then I think even back then I was throwing up, like when you're manifesting, but then you also throw up blocks. I was throwing up blocks. Like I want to be famous, but I don't want it to be for something bad. I don't want a negative 15 minutes of fame.
Right.
So it would be like, I want it, and I recently went through therapy to block that because I knew that was a problem. Like when I was starting to do my stand-up comedy sex ed shows, I was having trouble because I was like, well, what if I get famous and then people find out this thing about me and then they try to cancel me? And I was like, so why are you trying to stop everything before you start? And so I had to get therapy.
I completely understand. I did some NLP and different head work to work through a lot of those stuff that I have to thank my upbringing a little bit for, but it's those little things that tell you that certain things are bad, but there's nothing wrong with sex. So it's all good. That's an awesome thing to be famous for.
Right. Yeah. And then I have a lot of, the imposter syndrome because, I'm talking about sex, but I'm not a licensed sex therapist. I'm not anything. I'm just somebody who's talked to over 10,000 women about sex. And so, but then when I do my let's talk about sex talk, always right before I do it, I'm like, I'm not qualified for this, blah, 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 blah. But then I do it and I say, I'm the only one who can do this talk. Because these are literally the stories that women have shared with me about their experiences with my parties. So nobody else can do this talk. And all this talk is, all of the different things that women have been able to get over just by going to a party and being able to talk about sex.
Yeah, I think that's great. And just, when I was going through my divorce, I had all these married people and married therapists wanted to give me advice. You don't need to be any kind of clinician to tell you what's up if you've had any kind of experience, that's
right. My number one advice is use lube. No matter what anybody ever asks me, that's the answer. Use lube.
That's it,
Right. figure out when and where you need it and make sure you have it when you need it. Sometimes you need, alcohol could be your lube for a conversation or for a talk, your sex lubes. That one's the most important, especially if you're on any of a myriad of medications. Just make sure you got your lube. All right. So now I'm going to get nosy.
Go for it.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
I was 16.
Very, very logical answer.
Yeah.
I've had everything from 12 to 20 so far.
Yeah. And my mom knew about it too. Like she went out and was like, let's get you on birth control before you do the deed. And
that's good.
That's what we did. So yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what we did. I do remember. And this is I want to have somebody on the show who is an expert in imperforate hymens, because that's something that is very, very common, or more common than you would think.
Really?
And nobody ever talks about it. And the reason I know that it's more common than you would think is because it happened to two of my daughters, one of my daughter's roommates from college, and one of my cousins. And my daughter and her friend also know somebody else who had it. So that's 5 people that I know. So that means going out into the world, there's got to be a lot more of them. So what was I talking about? Oh, so when it was time for her to have the surgery, I said, do you want to have the surgery now and just get it over with? Or do you want to wait until you're ready to have sex and then do it? And then I'll be like, oh, so you're ready to have sex. And she goes, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get it done now. So, but I was kind of open with, when you're ready, you're ready. And I don't think I've ever been one of those moms that was just like, don't have sex.
Yeah, like I think like I know my mom always said she wanted to have like even though she was pretty strict and Catholic, she just wanted to have open, be like, hey, when you're ready, you're ready. I don't want you to be like my mom and be like, here's this book about sex and you're not going to do that, So
right,
it was nice to be like, hey, I think I want to try this, and she's like, she just don't bring home a baby. That was her, or any diseases. That was her whole thing. So.
Mine was always don't bring home any diseases. I can handle a baby, but if you're herpes are for life.
Right.
I mean, babies are for life too, but they leave at 18 usually.
That just makes me remember my health teacher, talking about herpes. Herpes is for life, kids. And I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And it's pretty popular. That's one reason why I'm happily would like to stay married. I never want to have to worry about herpes.
It's a very scary world because I remember dating after my divorce and stuff, and most people don't want to use protection at all. They're like, huh? I have to use a condom? They have no idea what to do. Like it's.
I tell my college girl, because I had college girls, and they're always like, well, what, he doesn't want to use a condom. And I was like, I think you've forgotten who's the powerful one here.
Right.
If he doesn't want to use a condom, then you're just like, all right, I'll just masturbate, and you just sit over there.
Right.
And like a couple seconds in, he's gonna be like, fine, I'll use one. I'll use 2. I'll put on a pretty pink bow. What do you want?
Exactly.
Let me in. And it's no secret. I've probably mentioned on every other podcast that we've been married. We've been together 27 years. We still use condoms as our main form of birth control, just because mainly the way pills worked for me was to make me not want to have sex. So you can't get pregnant if you don't want to have sex. So
yeah, I know that was an issue for me when I was on birth control as well. So it's like you're going to be on this and then you don't want to have sex.
Right. The same reason I don't take antidepressants.
I hate that. Like that's going to even make you more depressed. It's going to make you more depressed.
And I realize some people need to have them. I find other ways to get around it because I know it was funny. My doctor had me on like 25 milligrams of Zoloft for a couple of weeks. And then, and then she's like, and then after this amount of time, double it. So I doubled it. And then immediately my ability to orgasm went away. And so I stopped taking them. And then I come in and she goes, well, did you know that Zoloft has sexual side effects? I'm like, yes, I fucking know that. Right? So I'm like, no, I'm not going to be taking these anymore. And she's like, are you sure? Like, no, I'll just, like right now, I could use some right now. I mean, I've had a full year of not being able to work and a full year of not making any money and a full year of not being able to, go on cruises and all the other things that make me happy. I could use some Zoloft right now, but damn it, I'll go out and get some sunshine and I'll exercise and I'll just, do my best to work my way through it, because I need the orgasms are the only thing making me happy right now.
I totally agree.
Funny sex story. You said you had some stored up. Let's go.
Oh my God. So, right after my divorce, I went on quite a few different dates with different gentlemen, and there was one date I had, where we did decide to have some sex, and I thought I had locked my dog in his crate, and he apparently got out of the crate, and then he jumped on the guy, and then he started licking him on his butt. So it completely stopped the whole thing. He put his pants off and he left. So
the guy wasn't into a threesome with your dog, huh?
No. And I was like, well, at least I got my dog. And I was like, oh, well.
The dog was licking his butt.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
Denver.
Like, I didn't eat him.
I know.
That is a funny sex story.
Yeah.
What's your favorite time of day to have sex?
I would say middle of the day.
Me too.
Middle of the day for sure. I have long gaps between the day between my classes and stuff like that. So it's usually nap time a little bit, and then just a little frolic midday.
A midday frolic.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my favorite time to. A lot of times, if we're gonna go out and we're gonna drink, because now I'm at the age where if I have 2 drinks, I can't feel anything anymore. So
no, I can't either. That's not gonna happen. So
when we're gonna go out and we know we're gonna have a good time, we'll have sex before we go out, and that way he's in a good mood and I can have all the drinks I want because he already had his orgasm, and then I can go home and go to sleep. That's the way to do it.
Definitely.
Favorite position?
I really like doggy style myself.
It's the most popular answer.
It's like
There's no downside to doggy style.
I know my partner would rather me he's got all weird shit he wants to do all the time, and sometimes I'll end up, falling off something. But yeah, let's keep it simple though. We don't need to go get too complicated.
That's literally my least favorite thing from like a zillion years ago when I did have sex before I married my husband. The guys who wanted to flip you around and change the position and blah blah blah, and I was like, you do know how hard it is for a woman to have an orgasm, right? Like, just fucking stay still so we can find the spot and rub on it.
Why are we making this more complicated than it needs to be?
Exactly. Because they're watching too much porn.
Exactly. All their friends are telling me about this stupid shit, and none of them are having sex anyway. So It's like, come on.
Have you tried to do it when she's on one hand and her knee is behind her head, and then what? Do you know where the clitoris is?
And when she's hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah. And I know I sell the door swing, but for the life of me, I cannot imagine that is comfortable. Maybe if you're already a spinner and you don't weigh anything, but you put my fat ass in some straps and it's going to hurt my ass.
I've actually flipped over on one personally. And it's not any fun because then you end up hitting your head. So
yeah. Well, I was thinking that's exactly what would happen is I would lose my balance. I would fall. I would be hanging upside down. My spidey sense would be lost and my husband would laugh at me.
And just think, if you don't get that into a support beam, you're really going to be screwed. You're going to have to worry about more than, just a position,
Yeah. And they're like, this will hold up to 300 pounds if you put it in the main beam of the house.
Right.
And then we've got another one that just hooks over the door, but it has to be in a solid core door. And most houses don't have solid core doors.
Yeah, that's not going to work for a good 80% of the houses out there.
Right.
Definitely not.
The only door it'll work for is your front door, your back door, and the door to the garage. Right? Oh yeah. And 2 of those doors usually have windows in them.
Hey, what's up, neighbors?
You want to see my ass?
Yeah.
What's your favorite sex toy?
I'm just really plain Jane with a regular vibrator, I have this pink vibrator I use. So
Is it dual action or just internal?
It's dual action.
Nosy.
Yeah, it's dual action. Yeah.
That was nosy. I'm like, wait, let's get clear on what we're doing here.
All right.
Yeah, it's always fun to get these different
No,
different
I
perspectives.
totally get it. Yeah.
I mean, I warned you ahead of time that I was going to be nosy.
It's all
That's
good.
not even that nosy.
No, that's not bad. No.
Yeah. You got any nosy questions?
What do you like using?
A glass toy.
Oh,
And
okay.
anyone who's been listening to this podcast knows glass toys all day long.
Okay.
Because they are, you can warm them up, you can cool them down, but you don't have to because your bedroom temperature is about usually 20 degrees less than your body temperature. So as soon as something that's 72 degrees hits 98.6, your body goes, and all the blood just rushes there. Has no sound for those of us who are sound sensitive. It has no lights for those of us who are light sensitive, and it has no vibration for those of us who are vibration sensitive. Just
so your neighbors won't know that you have it on, pretty much.
Right.
Like, oh, is she baking a cake, or does she have her vibrator on?
Right.
You know.
There was the one time I used a vibrator on myself, because I've also never used them by myself except for one time. I was in the shower because, of course, that's where we like to use the vibrators so that nobody can hear them. And I hit a spot, and I don't know if there's a G spot or if it was an imaginary spot. I don't know what the fuck spot it was, but I started to orgasm so hard that I threw my back out.
Oh my God.
And I talk about this in my comedy show. And so the toy is not letting go of the spot. So the orgasm is happening, but the back spasm is also happening.
Oh my God.
And I was like going, ow, ow, oh, ow, oh. And by the time the toy finally, by the time I finished the orgasm, I was on the floor of the shower sobbing because I was in so much pain, but also I was laughing because I was like, this is the funniest fucking thing that has ever happened in the world. And I wish I'd been recording it because I would be a millionaire. Because I absolutely would have put that on the internet.
Imagine explaining that to like the emergency room if you had to like go in.
That one was close. And I actually wound up having to take pain pills for that spasm. That was one of the second worst spasms. I have a really bad back, so I can rank my spasms, but that one was the second worst spasm I had ever had. And I had to drive to Boston the next day to catch a flight, and I couldn't do anything. So I actually had to take a Valium that someone gave me so that I muscle would spasm would stop enough so I could get to the airport.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
And then I flew first class and drank 7 vodka sodas between Boston and Atlanta.
Oh my God, I would have to too. That's terrible.
So when I got to Atlanta, I had no pain.
Oh, good.
Then it came back. So then I brought the real painkillers. But I wasn't going to take like a hydrocodone and then drive to the airport in Boston. It's too hard.
Right.
I don't want to die or kill anybody.
No, definitely not. That's for sure.
Still a funny fucking story though.
It is
so much pain, but it was still, and I have to this day never ever used a toy on myself again. I was like, not doing it. I'm like, I keep hearing all these great stories about the womanizer, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to throw my back out. Not worth it. There was one toy called Tracy's dog. Have you seen the reviews for that on Amazon?
No, I haven't.
It's a story that goes around. Everybody's like, look at the reviews for this toy. And it's basically like a different version of the womanizer, but it's a toy that sucks on your clitoris. And one of the reviews is like, I had an orgasm and I was like a baby goat or like a fainting goat. Like, and then I was frozen. And I'm like, that's how I threw my back out.
Oh my God. That's pretty funny.
But that's what it was. It's like the whole body just seized up, and then my back was like, what's happening?
It's just like, whatever, I'm done. I'm leaving.
I'm done. I don't care if you're standing up in the shower. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a much funnier story than the time I just threw my back out putting coupons in a book. Like
that's way better. It's
right.
yeah, that's
Or
definitely.
the time I sneezed. Sneezing's always a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
And at my age, I have to worry about, am I going to throw my back out, pee my pants, or fall down if I sneeze? Like it's like I have to get into like a three, like this weird, like cross my legs, bend over, hold my knees, hold on to dear life so I don't fall over before I can sneeze. It's sexy. Anyway.
Yes, it's wicked sexy, the things that some of the, we have to go through. So I totally get it.
Right. All right. So how can people find you? Do you want them to find you?
Yes, of course.
Okay. How can people find you?
They can find me under Nicole Renee, my profile on Facebook, or they can find me on Empower Fitness Mystic on Facebook. So
you don't
either
have
one.
Instagram or anything?
Under Nicole Renee Fit on Instagram as well.
Cool. And if you send me those, I will put them in the show notes.
Yeah, I totally will.
You can find me on Instagram at standupcomedysexed, standupcomedysexed.com, RayleneTaskoski.com, which is my speaker website. And then I've set up a Facebook group just for this podcast so you can participate in polls, ask questions, and politely share an alternate point of view, and generally let us know what you think of this episode and every other episode. So search for Stand Up Comedy Sex Ed podcast on Facebook. Please subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends and leave funny reviews and go to buymeacoffee.com/Raylene and send me $3 and maybe I'll buy a coffee. Maybe I'll buy weed. Who knows? I won't be buying weed.
No.
I bought a bunch of edibles when I was in San Francisco 2 years ago, and I still have most of them. I don't even, like, I think I bought like 2 20-packs, and I think I still have 30 left.
Oh, that's wicked funny.
And I think I've given away most of the ones that are not in there anymore. I'm such a bad, like, I was such a stoner in high school, and now I'm just like, meh, I don't have time to be high.
I actually never touched any of that stuff myself. Really? So, but no, yeah.
Yeah, my husband hasn't either.
I know my partner always wants me to. He's like, let's do it. And I'm like, no. I don't know. It's you either are or you don't. So.
Right. Well, and yeah, it's like, and the only time I ever think about getting high is when I'm already drunk and then I just fall asleep. So what is the point?
Yeah, that's true.
So I also have another comedy story about the last time I had edibles. Well, not the last time, but like the first time I had edibles after 18 years. That was another fun story. All right. So thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
We'll just keep talking about sex and I'll see you on Facebook.
All right. Sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.